Hey everyone, and welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by John Cartwright and Steve Bowling to discuss the recent Inside Xbox Series X gameplay reveal trailer, in quotes, or not trailer, but just trailers, where we finally get to see what the Xbox Series X is capable of. Kinda, because this is what it's expected to look like, but that's just me going into my own thoughts. What about you guys? How did you feel after watching the Inside Xbox presentation, John?
I have no impression at all. And I think I want to be excited for this. I was on a bit of an Xbox kick earlier this week. I've been replaying Halo Reach in the Master Chief Collection. And I remembered how much I love Xbox, how much I love playing Jet Set Radio Future and Panzer Dragoon Auto and Halo 3 and Gears of War. I have lots of great memories with this brand. But then when it came to this, I just walked away not knowing what Series X was really capable of. And I'm just confused why they decided to show all this stuff now and not debut as something a bit bigger.
Yeah, they started off interesting where they had bright memory. Actually, before I get into that, Steve, what are your impressions, just so we can get that baseline in?
I think I'm right in the same place with you guys. This was supposed to be a gameplay reveal, and I don't feel like I saw any games being played. I feel like I saw a lot of cutscenes, a lot of potentially in-engine demos, but nothing that gives me a sense of what the Xbox Series X is going to be able to do. None of this. I didn't have any moment where I said, oh, that definitely looks like actual, gameplay footage. So I like John. I love Xbox. I enjoy them. I've purchased every single console iteration that they've released. I'm likely going to get the Series X when it comes out, but nothing that I saw today inched me closer towards wanting this console.
You think how important this showing was, though, because this was the Series X gameplay reveal. This one was seeing gameplay for the very first time. And you look back at other consoles, like with the 3DS, the very first game they showed was Kid Icarus Uprising, and that was like a bombastic opening to show what the 3DS can do and to get you excited for the console. But then we're going to think back to Series X, and the first gameplay we see is from Bright Memory Infinite. I'm not going to remember that game 10 years from now. It feels like just such a weak showing to highlight your console with.
The most impressive thing about that game is that one person developed it, which in that case, yes, that looks incredible. There's that's a massive achievement for that person. But it also seemed like the weakest mishmash I've ever seen in my life. We're just going to take, I like this stuff, I like this stuff, I like this. Let's put it all in one and let's show what they can do. It's just like, it reminded me so much of Ready Player One but yeah, just a mishmash of nerd things that I really like. So we got shooting, we got swordplay, we got this whip that we can drag enemies with or go towards. We have random cars showing up so we can do Back to the Future type shenanigans. It really does feel like just one person getting out all their ideas in one rather than a cohesive game that actually looks fun.
And there are some big names in this list, like Dirt 5, Madden, Vampire, The Masquerade, Bloodlines. Those are all big franchises, Yakuza and Assassin's Creed. But none of them are surprising. We knew all these games were coming. And I guess the point is to show them on Series X, but I don't know what makes Series X better than Xbox One, just seeing these games. I know the SSD is going to change stuff, but these games don't show how.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is all the games you listed are also coming out on the current console, so they're not going to get as much of a boost from that. And, they talked up the fact that first look at Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay. I didn't see any gameplay, did you? I saw the idea of what we want, but right. Ubisoft's pulled that kind of crap before with Watch Dogs, and even then Watch Dogs was much more convincing. This was just here's the thing, here's the thing, here's the thing. I thought it was just another trailer. It's like you said, John, I didn't get a sense of what Microsoft, what the Xbox Series X can do.
And what was the wording they used? Some trailer said something like, this is what is expected to look like on Series X?
Yes.
And if you're not going to show what it actually looks like, what's the point of showing at all?
Right. Mm-hmm. That was the thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, that annoyed me the most in this whole conference, was they were basically talking about what in the industry is called as target gameplay. So usually what the indication is there is that you're definitely not watching the game on hardware. You're watching it on a PC or a dev kit that isn't final. So they're basically projecting based on information given to them by Microsoft what they think that the console can handle. And a lot of times, once you actually have real hardware and real dev kits to work with, you find that you need to scale those ambitions back. And we've seen that so many times with developers where they post, what is essentially a glorified tech demo, which a huge portion of these things based on that target gameplay tag were. So it feels at best disingenuous to call it gameplay.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue. And the other problem is that the new games that were here did not communicate very well what they were. Like, Scorn. What the hell?
Yeah.
Right. There were just a lot of trailers with visuals and cinematics, and we had no idea what the gameplay was like. There were so many games like that.
Mm-hmm. We're here to disturb you and make you curious, but we're not going to show you what it's actually going to be about. And I'm sorry, that doesn't, unless there's a really good hook, that's not enough for me. And the Scorn definitely failed in that idea. Chorus, I'm already forgetting. I can't remember what that was. Oh yeah, the space one. Okay, sure. Call of the Sea, though. Call of the Sea really stood out because it actually had a graphical style that was not just realistic, dark, and disturbing.
But it's also a case of I'm not so sure what that game was either, though. Because they just kind of walked around in a first-person perspective, and it looked very beautiful. It definitely stood out visually. But I don't quite know what you do in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked... honestly... There were so many samey kind of visual styles in this presentation that, like Derek, I was just relieved to see something that was even the slightest bit different. Bandai Namco also had a good-looking game, one that actually looked like a game. And the name is escaping me right
Scarlet
now. But
Nexus.
Right, that one had like a major astral chain kind of vibe to it. The enemy designs were also similarly just weird. But it, I could get a sense of what that game's going to play like when it comes out. It's very clearly like an action game. It looked fun. It had a nice cel shaded art style, even though it was trying to still be kind of in its own way dark and disturbing. It was not all brown and gray and dark. It was colorful, and that was one of the standout games for me. Which honestly, in most other instances, probably would have just been another one in like a Nintendo Direct or something. But because it was just so different tonally than the rest of the stuff they showed, it made me want to check that game out quite a bit more than the others they showed.
It's quite a statement too, because like, if you look back to the beginning of Xbox One's generation, the Xbox One would have missed out on that game. Like, these Japanese games weren't really on that platform at the start. Towards the end maybe, but it's just kind of a good statement that Japanese support is coming. And that's also showcased with Yakuza Like a Dragon, which I'm not surprised is coming, because a bunch of Yakuza games were announced for Xbox One and Game Pass recently, but it's great to see it's coming day and date with the PS4 version. So it's not a big surprise, but it's still a nice one to have.
Mm-hmm. And, it's Yakuza is definitely getting bigger. That's a good get for Xbox, and it makes sense. And actually, you bringing out the fact that it's going to be on PS4, that is something that we definitely need to commend Xbox on, is their... Like, you buy a game and you have it for all their generations. So you get it for the Xbox One, and then you finally get a Series X that will transfer to the Series X and work there, and you have a free copy. You buy one copy, you have them all, which is a good system. That is very consumer friendly, and I will commend them for that. But I want games that actually encourages that, and Yakuza, I'm probably just gonna, if I get it, I'll probably just get it on the PS4. There's no reason for me to get an Xbox for that.
Yeah, it's called Smart Delivery, that service, and it is very pro-consumer. A lot of what they're doing is pro-consumer. And, I am quite excited for Series X. I really want to play Halo Infinite and see what it plays like. But this showing didn't really establish anything more for me. I was already interested in Series X, and this just felt like a buffer. It felt like something that you would have generally shown while waiting for the console after you've properly debuted it with a bunch of other games. And yeah, I don't know. This just didn't really do anything for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like this whole presentation could have been condensed down to like a sizzle reel in a larger presentation. And that's saying something.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They basically took what should have been like 2 minutes of jump cuts and turned it into a 45-minute exposition. So Yeah, I feel like John said this doesn't give you anything new. If you want Xbox Series X, or if you're on the fence and you want Xbox Series X, this isn't going to do anything to sway you at all. I don't think it necessarily hurt the image of the Xbox, but it feels like it was pointless.
Yeah.
And like they've already announced Xbox 2020, where every month there's going to be new announcements. So it's definitely not the end, and I'm sure we would have forgotten about this presentation months from now. But I don't know. I just expected something a bit more from the debut.
Yeah, it doesn't make the best first impression, mainly because, well, we didn't really get gameplay. At least not my feeling. Like the only gameplay I saw really was Scarlet Nexus, which had that interesting grab mechanic that changed things up. And they did say that they're going to be showing stuff from Xbox Game Studios, I think, come July. So at least we'll have that. But it almost feels like they should have waited for that to really, like, okay, here's our exclusives. This is why you're going to want a Series X. Not, okay, here's a bunch of games you'll likely be able to buy on other systems as well.
Yeah, because I mean, with Halo Infinite in particular, they've shown in-engine gameplay twice now. I think it was E3 2017 or 2018 they originally announced it, and then last year they showed a little in-engine gameplay, in-engine cutscene, I mean. So that game's still due a gameplay reveal. So I imagine we're going to see that in July. I don't know what else they're going to do, though. There's definitely Rez, brand new game that they can showcase. I'm sure Forza has something coming up. And yeah, I'm excited for what they have in store. They brought a bunch of studios. The future's looking very bright for them from a first-party perspective. Just this didn't showcase it. And one thing I'm seeing a lot online is Yakuza Like a Dragon was kind of mismarketed in this. Like, if you didn't know what the game was, I don't think you would know, because it looks like a regular Yakuza game the way they showed it off, but that's not what this one is.
Yeah, so I haven't played Like a Dragon, but my understanding is, that it's more RPG-like in nature. Like, it's a tactical game. It's not, in a traditional Yakuza game, it's a brawler. You run around and you beat people up, you pick up items. This one is a lot different. It's more RPG-like in nature. Your fighting is done through menu selections as opposed to just button presses. So, looking at the game, because I was not aware of the American title, I thought that, I saw the main character and I was like, oh, I think this is the RPG one. But then as I watched the trailer, I'm like, I must be wrong because I'm not seeing any of the mechanics I know about this game. And it turns out my initial gut reaction was right, but the trailer is I want to say misleading. Like, I would not believe this to be an RPG or a tactical game. I would think that this is just a slugfest, which it definitely is not.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more over the top than the other Yakuza games with the whole ICBM firing onto the earth and the crazy summons that are possible in the game. So I guess there's that aspect, but yeah, it's a bit odd. I don't know. This whole thing's a bit odd. It feels weird talking about it because, I've never bought an Xbox console myself, unlike you guys. I've played Xbox games and enjoyed them. I played Gears of War. I played Halo. I enjoy the games that they have, but there's nothing about their first party stuff has ever convinced me to go all in and buy one of their consoles. And I was wondering if Series X might be the first one to do that. But based off this first showing, not yet. Not yet. I am not ready to pull that trigger yet.
Well, we should emphasize we do like Xbox here as well, and we are planning to stream Halo 2 next week as well, so if you want to watch that, you can. And yeah, I mean, I feel like a rare game might do it for you, Derek, because I know you're just getting into Banjo-Kazooie now, and I believe you're going to be streaming that on our Twitch for another plug. But maybe that'll do it for you sometime in the future. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it will. Because I think at the moment, this entire showing was very samey. It was the games look very similar, they kind of blend into each other. Lots of horror ones, lots of racing ones, lots of first-person ones. It doesn't have the variety that speaks to you, and that's what they need.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, because I know Xbox can make good games. I am not blind to that fact. I'm not like, oh no, Sony and Nintendo all the way, screw Xbox. No, I know Xbox has some great games out there. So that's why I'm hopeful that they can really draw me in.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the smart delivery idea, and I think that's probably what's going to keep me invested in their ecosystem in the short term. I was looking at Yakuza and I was thinking, well, I don't have a console that I kind of associate that franchise with yet, but knowing that I can get the Xbox One version and play that, and if I want to, I can continue it or restart it on Series X without having to make an additional purchase. I like that. And I keep waiting for Sony to announce that they're going to basically pull this same move, but they haven't. And historically, Sony likes to take ideas that are pro-consumer and just kind of ignore them until they're forced to do something about it, like they did with crossplay. So there's a part of me that thinks that it makes too much sense for Sony not to also do it, but then there's a part of me that says Sony doesn't really care what makes sense. So if this is a thing that Microsoft is only doing, I could definitely see it being a strong reason why, at least early on, I purchase a lot of multi-platform games on Xbox versus PlayStation. But if Sony announces it, kind of all bets are off for me. I don't know which way I'd lean then, because we still don't know enough about the PS5 to really weigh in on that. But for now, at least, I think Microsoft has a lot more work to do. I don't think that today's presentation did much to further to gain them further mind share as far as the Xbox Series X is concerned, but it didn't damage them. I'll be excited to see what they show us next month.
There's two things they could have done that they didn't. One thing I think they should have emphasized backwards compatibility. Like show like a reel showing Banjo-Kazooie, showing Halo, showing all the legacy of Xbox. I think that would have just upped their brand a bit more, reminded you why you love Xbox in the first place. Because it's very admirable that when Series X comes out, you can play a game from 2002. Whereas with PS4, with PS5 even, you can play a game from like 2013. Like it's a very big difference in what you can and can't play on those two consoles. Yeah, that's a big tick in Series X's favor. Also, I don't know if they can do this because of the contracts, but it would have been a very big statement to show Final Fantasy VII Remake, because we know it's exclusive to PS4 for a year, which by the time Series X comes out, that year will be, I think, 3 months from being up. So I don't know if they can show it yet, but that would be a very big title to get on their list.
We'll see what they do in the future, but unless you guys have anything else to say about this whole presentation, I think that about covers it.
Yeah, no, I think that's it.
That's about it. Optimistic, but disappointed.
Yep, that's a good way to summarize it. But yeah, thank you for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, and of course be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Xbox and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.